We all tell ourselves the same lie. I'll do it when I have more time. I'll do it when things slow down. I'll do it someday. We treat our dreams like groceries, something we can always come back for later. But life isn't a grocery store. It's a burning candle. And while you're waiting for the perfect moment, your candle is melting away. Look at the calendar. You won't find a day called someday. If you're still waiting for it to arrive, you need to hear this story before it's too late. Frank was 70 years old, living in a quiet suburb just outside Chicago. For 40 years, he worked as a postal carrier. Same streets, same houses, same routine. Every day, he delivered letters that marked other people's lives moving forward. Wedding invitations, birth announcements, graduation cards. He watched milestones pass through his hands, while his own life stayed strangely paused. Neighbors knew his face, but not his story. They waved. He nodded back. No one ever asked what he had wanted to be beneath the uniform. Now retired, Frank finally had what he always said he needed: time. Every morning he sat on his rocking chair, coffee cooling beside him, watching neighbors rush off to places that still needed them. Sometimes he imagined their conversations, deadlines, meetings, complaints. He envied them anyway. Some days felt peaceful. Other days, the silence felt like judgment. The house was too quiet, filled only with the ticking of the hallway clock, counting seconds no one was using. One rainy afternoon, while cleaning the attic, Frank found a battered instrument case tucked in the corner. It was coated in a shroud of gray dust. He hesitated before opening it, as if the latch itself carried a memory he wasn't ready to touch. Inside, his old saxophone. And beneath it, a yellowed sheet of paper dated 1975. It read, "Frank's life goals: play the Blue Note Jazz Club, visit New Orleans, record an original song." Frank stared at the list, then at his hands, wrinkled, spotted, trembling. He remembered the boy who wrote that list. That boy believed life was long. That boy thought passion was permanent. Then came the job, the mortgage, the responsibilities. So Frank packed the saxophone away and told himself, "I'll do this later." 45 years passed. Now, he pressed the reed to his lips. He took a deep breath, but his lungs were weak. His fingers were stiff. The music didn't return, only the echo of what could have been. Instead of music, a broken squeak cut through the attic. Frank lowered the saxophone. A tear fell onto the cold brass. "It's too late," he whispered. "I waited too long." That evening, Frank sat alone on a park bench. Teenagers skated past him, loud and alive. Their laughter stung more than their speed. Beside him, a young boy, maybe 14, struggled with a cheap trumpet. The sound was thin, frustrated. Frank watched quietly, then spoke. "Don't trap the air in your throat. Push from your gut." The boy turned. "You know how to play?" Frank smiled, a tired, honest smile. "I thought I did once. I wanted to be one of the greats." The boy hesitated. "So, what happened?" The wind moved through the trees. "I thought I had time," Frank said. "I kept waiting for the perfect moment, but time didn't wait." The boy looked down. "I don't need to be great. I just want to play one song for the talent show, but I'm terrible." He looked up. "Could you teach me?" Frank looked at his own shaking hands. Fear told him to say no. Pride almost agreed. But then, something shifted. "I can't play it for you," Frank said gently. "My lungs aren't what they used to be. But I can teach you how to feel it." The next morning, Frank didn't turn on the TV. He bought a fresh notebook. The blank page scared him less than regret. He couldn't go to New Orleans anymore, but he could bring New Orleans to his front porch. Every afternoon, the boy came over. Frank couldn't hit the high notes, but he taught posture, breathing, timing, soul. Slowly, the house filled with sound again. Frank realized something profound. He couldn't fulfill his dream the old way, but he could fulfill it in a new one. He wasn't the performer anymore. He was the bridge. 3 months later, Frank sat in the back row of a high school auditorium. When the boy stepped into the spotlight and began to play, the room went silent. The music was smooth, soulful, alive. Frank closed his eyes. It wasn't coming from his hands, but it was his music. On the last page of his notebook, Frank wrote one final rule: live fully while you can. What is the saxophone you've been keeping in your attic? What's been stopping you from playing it? Or, if you finally did, what helped you begin? My friend, here's the truth. Don't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't fly to Paris, bring Paris into your kitchen. Dreams don't expire, but one day they stop hurting. And that is how you know it's truly too late. So start today. Start messy. Start imperfect. Because the only thing worse than failing is never starting at all. Wake up and live now.